Football Live Show, Sundays at 6 p.m. for your football fix on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and PF Radio. Check out our website at properfootball.co.uk.
Right, hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to Proper Football Live. We're a little bit later than normal, but 25 hours due to me and Gary being away in Belfast, having a bit of a heavy weekend. But anyway, introduce all the lads. How are you all doing? Gary, you covered yet, mate?
No. I'm hanging, mate. I'm proper hanging.
I feel like I've been hit by a bus, mate.
What a weekend that was.
Yeah, fantastic. Lovely people out there. We won't bore everyone about that, but no, great weekend. How are you doing, Nigel?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Had an eventful week. Yeah, not bad. Good to see you, mate. I ain't seen you for ages.
No, I've been driving me trains, and I ain't been on strike, but I've been driving. Hello, Greg. How you doing, mate? Ain't seen you for a while.
Yeah, I ain't seen you, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit jealous of you all weekend. It sounds like you had a good one, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, I know a few people who go out there for that, and yeah, it's always pictures, videos, and all that superb. So no, fair play.
That was great. Lingfield were playing at home. We were going to try and go and see them, but their own fans, are banned. So
were they? Oh,
from throwing objects. But then it turned out they would let them in. So I missed a trick there. They won 7-0. But missed a trick.
They won the league, didn't they?
Did they?
Times now they've won that league. The most successful club in the world for league titles.
Really?
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, good weekend. So yeah, glad to see you all, boys. And hello everyone else who's tuning in. I still think I'm on the radio here. Anyway, it's been a big busy week of football. Loads to talk about tonight. We're going to start with the Premier League. I know we don't like talking about it, but there's lots to talk about. Then we're going to drop down through the leagues and then have a chat about England at the end and Southgate. I know Gary's got a bit of thing to say about that with the lack of England players
as always
to pick from. So we might run over a little bit. But anyway, so let's kick off with the football. Well, I'll kick off with close to my heart, and I've been saying it for a while now. Palace are going to go down. I've been saying it for a couple of months, and this week Palace hit the panic button and sacked Viera. They lost again the weekend, so that didn't make any difference. But so it's squeaky bum time down the bottom there. And let's have a look. We've got the league table here. What are your thoughts, lads, on Viera going? Do you think it's the right decision or wrong decision, Nigel?
I'm not sure whether the right decision bring Hodgson's back.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah, they'll have to get him a wheelchair enclosure in a dugout. No, I mean, come on. It's the way of football now, isn't it? You know, you get a run of bad results, panic button gets hit, and they sack the manager. But like I said, I'm nothing against Roy. I think he's a really good manager, but he's getting on. I mean, surely there's other options out there. Lampard, I know that people like him and don't like him, but there are managers that are available at the moment that are younger than Roy and probably got fresher ideas. So,
Big Sam for me. But what do you think, Greg and Gary? Any views on Viera going? Considering Roy took it down last year, didn't he?
Yeah, but you get Big Sam in, and you only getting him in as a stopgap. Surely you want a manager to come in and get the team playing, and then hopefully take that form into the next season. So if you're going to get someone like Sam in as a stopgap, you know, he goes at the end of the season. You get a new manager in, no guarantee he's going to get him playing. So why don't you just go from the start?
Personally, mate, I think, like, obviously you're the Palace fan, so you're going to have a lot more on this than me. Similar when Watford sacked managers, do you know what I mean? Me and Gary, obviously. And I think,
hang on, Greg, we've got no right to say nothing about this.
No, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Right. I'm just going to say one thing, mate. The only thing I'm going to say, it made no sense sacking him before the Arsenal game. You've got to give him that game, and then it's an international break, and if you sack him after that, fine. But what is the point of getting rid of him 2-3 days before a Premier League game, and then you've got an international break? It's made no sense. Like, even if you get a caretaker manager bounce, it's going to be one game. And I don't know. I didn't really get the logic behind that side of it. But
I think that we was never going to get nothing from Arsenal. The way the sign, it's been on the wall. The writing's been on the wall since we ain't won a game since the end of December. We're not scoring goals. There's no cohesion. You laughing at Gary?
I know there's some of the comments, mate.
Dan,
sorry, Nigel.
You could have been 1-0 up with when it hit the post. I mean, but that's what happens when you're down at the end of the table. It hits the post and doesn't go in. When you're at the top, it hits the post and goes in.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say about Roy Hodgson as well is obviously we've had one experience of him. I don't think there's any Watford fan who likes him. I'd call him a dinosaur personally. I think he's awful. You know, I don't think at one time at Watford did he even say like we or us. It was all they and them, and you know, and it was just there was such a lack of connection there, and he looked just like he lost interest after about a week. But what I would say is obviously Palace and Hodgson, they've got history, so maybe he goes in there. And what would you say? You need 3 wins and you're safe, I would say.
Yeah, but
9 points and job done.
Yeah, the thing is, our issue ain't defending, apart from against Arsenal. Our Roy's good at organising a team. Our problem is the link between the forward and attack. There's the midfield's the problem, and that's been the big breakdown. And it happened to him at Nice. I think it was at Nice a couple of years ago. Viera, and it's the same patterns there. First good season, second season, big run and loss.
The thing is, there's like 9 teams who could go down here, right? And Palace are, at the moment, probably, as much as they haven't won for a while, they're probably one of the teams that are in one of the better positions. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, you know, okay, form, no. But if you look at the actual league table, like you say, 3 wins, 2 wins and a draw, 3 wins, Palace are safe, in my opinion. You know,
23 Southampton, you can't see that they played a game more. But I don't know. I just think it's... the writing's been on the wall, but if there's a time to sack someone, I think it was now because you got the international break. But I think Roy could be the man because he knows the players. But how is it going to upset the players?
What was the feeling amongst Palace fans, like the Palace fans that you know? Was there ever an attachment to Viera, or was it just never really there?
Oh no, massively. We was all singing his only one Pat Viera in the Cup semi-final last year. They're all fickle, weren't we? But this year...
So, we were singing one Roy Hodgson.
I've
never sang one Roy Hodgson, I can promise you that.
Thank God there's only one Roy Hodgson for you. But no, he was brilliant. But this season, a lot of the big fan groups, and there's one fan group who don't like any negativity, but they've even... The football's been shocking. It's been like going back to Hodgson, sort of thing. But let's get on with the... Let's have a look at a few comments. I know there's a couple of Palace fans in there. Ben Cliff, good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're all well.
Mate,
I'm going England see against Wales tomorrow.
There, Dan.
Yeah.
That you're going to have to in later, yeah?
Okay, mate. Yes, Ben's off to England see against Wales tomorrow at Altrincham. Oh, that'd be a good game. Ben Cliff.
I'll put a post up about that.
You did, mate, didn't you?
I put the squad up because it's all non-league, isn't it? It's like all the National League, South and North. They've all got players in that squad. Yeah, it's a really good idea, actually. Yeah, and I think Altrincham, they're only charging about a tenner for that as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I wonder if it's on the telly. Might be.
A good game, actually, yeah.
Ben Cliff's had a good weekend.
Give us a report on that, mate.
Yeah, both teams for Ben. Kingsgrove won 2-1, 3 points of the playoff, and Stoke a draw against Norwich. Yeah, good evening, Mike Howe, fellow Palace fan. I know how he feels about Viera. Alex Langley, what's going on with Palace, Ben? Dan, I think he means. Viera. Dan, hope you didn't shit the bed with the drink. What's that all about? Graham McRobert?
That was the one I thought maybe you'd like to discuss after the show. Because I had to share a room with him in the night. And I'm going to tell you now, mate, the gap between the beds seemed to want to... Anyway, go no further.
But good evening, Graham McRobert. I didn't... have an accident in the bed. In Gary's bed, though, the beds were that close together, weren't they? Good evening to Ben. And who else we got in here? Roy Fletcher, hello, mate. How you doing? So, someone's mentioned, what do you think about...
Roy.
What do you think about Mitrovic the weekend? So, Fulham. What happened there? What happened at Fulham against Man United?
Did you boys watch it?
It was comical, wasn't it? It was... I mean, he was literally going after that ref. Even after he sent him off, he still wanted a bit more with him, didn't he?
Yeah. The thing is, he grabbed him. Then he put his... To be fair, if the ref hadn't pulled his face away, he would have been right in his face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, at the end of the day, we all know Mitrovic has got a temper. You know, he's always had a temper. But you can't do that. And what makes it funnier for me as well, obviously no attachment to Fulham, and I don't like Marco Silva, is Marco Silva can't say anything to him because he lost his rag as well and got sent off. So it's not even like the manager can pull him in and say, you let us down there, because the manager let him down and all. So
it was handball, wasn't it, though?
So
it was handball, yeah. It was.
Some of the players hadn't got physical with him and actually pushed him away from the referee. I mean, he could have ended up hitting him, and then you can forward about a year's ban or something like that.
Well, there's rumours of a 10-game ban, isn't there? I don't know how true that's going to be, but that's what they're saying today.
Well, that's that one of the refs has called for, isn't it? An ex-referee, Keith Hackett.
Yeah. I think that's the bigger conversation here, isn't it? The bigger conversation here is that grassroots football, kids football, Sunday football, all the football that there are, lads out there wanting to play, lasses out there wanting to play, this behaviour at top level is the reason why we can't get refs to referee games in this country. And until they do the guy deserves to be banned for the rest of the season, because this is what is rolling downhill and meaning people will not become refs. And this is, we've got refs having to wear body cams and everything. Until they get these top role model players, and rugby, and all right, rugby's rugby, but mate, you don't get none of that in rugby, the respect given to referee. And the reason why is because, mate, you disrespect the referee in rugby, it ain't the authorities of the game, it's your club will absolutely annihilate you. And this is the problem with what we see. It was disgraceful, more in the point, again, just repeating that this is rolling down the pyramid and meaning people don't want to be referees.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, if you go,
I think it's okay.
Yeah, and if you look at the grassroots football, Sunday League, that sort of thing, refs aren't respected as it is, and like you say, kids are watching their stars on TV dive in, and they're diving, mouthing off to referees, they're doing it. Next thing you know, it's going to be a kid assaults a referee on a Sunday morning or something. And it's just all these things that you see on the telly, kids will copy, even like little things when like the players cover their mouth and pretend, all that sort of shit. There's probably kids out there that are copying that as well. And it's just like, it's all, these are people's heroes. Okay, Mitrovic, only Mitrovic, but, we've seen Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, they all play up as well, and kids copy them. Do you know what I mean? So,
what was it like in your day, Nigel, with the referee? Could you have a bit of banter, or was there certain refs you knew you couldn't, you had to border with?
We had a little swear at referees, and some of them even swear back at you. But so long as you don't, there is a mark where you can't, you take it too far and they'll get a red card. But the stupid thing about it yesterday was that there was no doubt it was a penalty. Like if it was a dodgy decision, you can understand them getting frustrated, Fulham players. But it was a defo penalty, which means he's got to get sent off for it. He sent the manager off, and then Mitrovic. I just can't understand what he was thinking about. I mean, there was no doubt it was a penalty. So why was he getting in the referee's face? He'd given the right decision, And the worst thing about it is if you watch South American football with Brazil and Argentina, there's been referees assaulted on the pitch.
They get chased out the ground, don't they?
Yeah, and we don't need that over here. In this game, as soon as you let that creep in, like you said, it goes all the way down to the kids on a Sunday league match on Sunday afternoons, and
I think it comes from the managers though. You see Arteta, you see Mourinho, all them over the years, they've all been on the sidelines. Like they kick it off, and he did kick it off.
Well, you've only got to look at Marco Silva's interview yesterday. He didn't come out and condemn it or anything like that. He just come out and made excuses, and very much like these days at Watford, it's just excuse. And he's like, we've had this ref 3 or 4 times, and we never get decisions off him. And then he said something about Mitrovic should have had a penalty in the first half. And it's like, mate, your player's just done that. Just come out, hold your hands up, say you done wrong, and say your player done wrong. Just have a bit of class. Do you know what I mean?
Well, do you know what though? I think without VAR, the referee would have made a decision on that, and the players would have accepted it. The fans would, even if it was right or wrong. You accept the referee's decision.
Any ref.
But with this VAR now, VAR is just creating lots of issues, and it proved that it was a penalty. But like I said, I'm a great lover of let the referee the game, and he's going to make some bad decisions, and he'll make some good ones. And I think they honestly would have accepted it. There would have been none of that from Mitrovic. I think it would have just been accepted. But the fact that he's gone over to look at the TV and that's wound them up in it.
Talking of managers, Ben Cliffy's favourite manager at the moment in the Premier League is Conte. After his comments slamming Daniel Levy in the Tottenham.
Did you watch the full 4 minutes of that?
I couldn't. I find it hard to watch him. He was.
I watched the full 4 minutes of it, mate. He probably slaughtered everything he could slaughter. Everything, club, players. The only thing he didn't slaughter was fans. Everything else, he tore to bits, mate.
And himself, he's got to take some responsibility for.
He has, he has.
Is it good for football?
I think he's right, though. In a way, I mean, like all he was trying to say was like it don't matter enough to him to win a match. And
the comment that got me is when he said like the owner's been here 20 years, same owner, loads of different managers, and then he kind of shrugged his shoulders and went, "Whose fault?" I think he said something like "Whose fault?" or "Who's to blame?" or whatever.
He stopped short of saying we're Spursy, didn't he?
Well, it's probably public knowledge that he wants out, isn't it? So
100%.
He's not going to be frightened to say anything if he wants out.
Give me my paycheck. I'm off back to Italy. That's all he wants.
Slight ulterior motive, I think, with it.
Yeah.
Michael, no to Roy coming back to Palace. No, I'm with you, Mike. I don't want to keep going back to Palace, but to say what Nigel said, I think a stopgap at the end of the season with Sam it's probably what we need to stay up, and then you can get someone in new.
And that's all he's going to be, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's all he'll be.
Graham McRobert, he's saying my home team is Ayr United and have a game tomorrow night and one off of second place. You will know Ayr manager Lee Bullen. Who's Lee Bullen?
If they got Sam in and he kept him up, I mean, and then they sacked him, people would be going, well, he's just done a good job. I don't think if he keeps him up, it's not going to be a stopgap, is it?
Thing is, I think a lot of these managers now, I think they're content coming in, short-term contract, doing a job. Let's be honest, right? It's very much like Big Sam when he's been brought in before, Dyche at Everton, Chris Wilder at Watford. All these managers, they've come in. They're on deals where it's a case of get us what we want, whether that's safety, whether it's playoffs, whatever it is. If you do it, we'll give you X amount of money, and then we'll discuss a contract going forward, maybe, or thanks very much, shaking the hand, off you go, sort of job. But over the last 3 or 4 years, it's been happening more and more and more towards the end of the season, especially. You know, these managers have been coming in. And you all know, especially the Premier League ones, you all know they're getting 3, 4, 5 million quid at the end of it if they keep the team up, you know, because if you stay in the Premier League, that's sod all, isn't it, to a club?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. I don't think the managers are that worried, are they?
No,
like players, they'll get another job. They'll get another job. Ben said he was listening to Talk Shite earlier this morning, and there was a ref had an incident with a 10-year-old player being aggressive and abusive to him, and he had to keep asking the manager to take him off, which eventually he did. It does feed down. Whatever people say, it does feed down to the grassroots level. Are you back with us now, Gary? Are you having some internet issues, mate?
Yes. Back with you.
Very quiet tonight, Gary.
You're talking Premier shit, so.
Right, so we're going to have a look at the top of Premier League now. No, I'm only joking, mate. Right, FA Cup, wasn't it, yesterday? So Grimsby, 4,621 fans, roughly, wasn't it? What a day out. So I've got a couple of little videos on the show. This is him on Brighton Pier the day before. And this one is a school. I think it's on a Friday. A teacher in a school in Grimsby got his class in the assembly to do this. Great, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you also see the video at the end? When because I think Brighton had like Sweet Caroline and a few other songs playing. Obviously, they were celebrating out in Wembley. But all the Grimsby, not one Grimsby fan, I don't think, had left. And all the players were standing there clapping their fans. All the Grimsby fans were bouncing around, singing it, jumping up and down. And I was unbelievable. You know, if you had come in from a day on the, well, not even on the bed, if you come in from a day out and put the football on and saw that, you'd have thought Grimsby had won. It was unreal.
Well, I bumped into a few of them. I landed at St Pancras. We flew back into Luton from Belfast, got to St Pancras, and then see all these fish bobbing down on the up and down on the platform. You know, the old blow up area addicts. But they were still singing, having a good time. That was what time? That was about 8 o'clock. The game finished about 4, and they had to get back to Grimsby from there. Also bumped into a lot of Arsenal fans smirking and laughing at beating us. So I just got my head down and carried on walking. But no, what a great day out of Grimsby. But Yeah, unfortunately, Brighton. Well, obviously not a big Brighton fan, am I? But unfortunately, they beat them 5-0 and done what the Premiership team should do. But what was the draw? The draw
Brighton,
was
Man United,
Brighton,
Sheffield United.
Yeah, so big shout out to Sheffield United as well, getting through, beating Blackburn. That was a good game.
That was a really good game
as well. Anything you want to add, Scout? You can join in now, mate. We're talking about the.
No. I mean, you know Grimsby. What my feelings on it. I love the FA Cup, and this just again, the arrogance of elite football, both the football and the punditry. This shows why it's so important that the FA Cup should be treated with the respect it deserves, because that's what it means to people from Grimsby. That's what it means to people from Sheffield United. That's what it's meant to so many other teams, and it's great to see.
We've only got to look when we got there, Gal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, walked out after 6-0. I mean,
do you know what I mean, though? Do you know what I mean? The build up to it and everything like that, and the hype. These top teams, they don't get the same. They don't get the same buzz when they go to Wembley.
There's an arrogance in football with the bigger clubs and their fans. No disrespect to the fans of the bigger clubs, but there is an arrogance, and they forget that actually, out of the 6 clubs, there are many more thousands of supporters that go to their games week in, week out.
100%. Many
more thousands than just all you lot up in the top tiers or the top 6 clubs. There's so many more thousands.
You know what really riles me as well is someone on the chat, I think, mentioned TalkSport, and they're so bad for it. You put any show on TalkSport on, right, even for an hour or two, and it's just top six. Or, this morning it was Spurs, United, Liverpool, whatever, and it's all the time. And I was listening to it one evening, and it was after Liverpool, I think, got knocked out of the Champions League. And you should have heard some of these fans coming on. They don't live in the real world. And you think you support a club who are down in the lower leagues. That's the real world. These clubs that have never been in the Premier League, never been to a cup final, all these sort of things. I just listen to it. It's just gobsmacks, and it's
it's getting worse, I think.
It is getting worse, mate. 100%.
It's getting a lot worse.
The Grimsby fans, though, they've had the last 3 games there've been 3 cup finals for them. So they've had a great time. They've been.
Is that right? They've been 5 teams all above them.
That's right.
Yeah. Christ.
So they'll remember this year for a long time, and the fans that have been following them this year will remember. That'll be talked about for years on now.
Yeah,
and hopefully the TV money and other bits and pieces will help them next season, the year after that, to get them up out the second division. It's been massive for a minute, and whoever's been selling them blow up Harry Ellis has had it right off, haven't they?
The Seagulls got the fish show at the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah.
As they always do.
Right, talking of fans, good fans, the lower down. You've got Preston North End fans. Now, I know you put this post up, Greg, didn't you? I don't know if you want to talk about it. I'll put the video. Or you talk about it first.
To be honest, I saw it a few years ago that they'd done it. Gentry Day, which is basically a day where I think Preston, the football club, they select an away game every single season. All probably around the same sort of time of year, I'm not sure. And all the fans, they wear the hats, and then obviously some of them get suited and booted and they go to the football. And it's all to pay respects to those fans in the last 12 months that have lost their lives and before.
There's a lot,
but the actual picture of them, and just the sort of the scenes of it looks really good. It's really impressive. I've never seen them do it down at Watford, but I did meet a mate of mine who was a Preston fan when he comes down to Watford the other week. Had a chat with him and that, and he's a good proper fan, like a lot of us, and it just kind of reminded me about this, and then I saw that they were doing it at Borough, so I thought it was definitely worth a shout out.
And the Borough fans said they was the most amazing noise they created. They lost 4-0, didn't they? But I've got a little a video with their fans with a bowler at.
Mate, honestly, loads of clubs do that. A lot of them just call it Memorial Day, and they'll pick an away game. Bolton have done it, Birmingham do it. I know for a fact Bristol Rovers do it. I think they were aiming to do it last year at Derby. And there's a lot of clubs do it, and a lot of them call it Memorial Day. And it's I did attend an home game where they had a Memorial Day home game at Bristol Rovers, and we was in the pub at a night with them getting pissed on cider, and it was just amazing what they did. And they raised a glass, they named some of the people that have passed, and you know, again, you know, it just highlights again what these clubs are to their communities and what they mean to the people. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing to see. Wonderful thing. And fair play, Preston. Well done. The bowl,
definitely
great, really great. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's a lovely little take. And like I said, the Middlesbrough fans, someone on our page, I said they even went round there and after, not for other reasons, but to go round and chat to them and just say, you're the best fans we've had up here.
I'll tell you what, Borough is a long way away. I know Preston ain't the longest journey as some, but 1,800 up there, I think they took more than that as well. So it's a good following for them, do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
They get a good away support,
fantastic.
Preston, actually. I think them and Burnley, you know, seem to good away.
Yeah, Preston bought quite a few down to Watford the other week as well, actually. Yeah.
They've but staying in the Championship, there's some news is breaking about Wigan just before we come on. And they've been docked 3 points because they haven't paid their players. And it's not like the first time. Obviously, there's quite a harsh fine, isn't it? But they've got previous to this a suspended penalty, so that sort of puts them down. I imagine, doesn't it? I mean,
I think they managed to pay him in the end, didn't they? Did they pay him a day late or something like that? Because I know obviously we was due to play him on the Saturday, or we played him on the Saturday. On the Friday, it came out they hadn't paid him, and then when I looked a little bit more into it, they said, "Oh, they've been paid now." But obviously, the EFL ain't taking any nonsense if they've done it before.
Yeah. Did you beat them?
1-1. Mate,
I'm sorry.
No. Do you know what? I've never been so glad for an international break. Honestly.
Yeah. You've dropped some points against the lower teams, haven't you? But it's a crazy league, isn't it? Like I think me and you chatting the other day, Gary. Birmingham went and beat someone the other day, and keep Blackpool smash QPR 6-1.
Yeah, then QPR going to beat us 1-0.
But
Ben's just mentioning Sheffield United in some sort of they've been put on a transfer embargo. Ben, he's just mentioning it there.
So Burnley as well, haven't they?
Who Sheffield United?
Burnley.
Burnley.
I think Sheffield United. I was reading a post on one of the other football pages, and I think they're very, very, very much in the shit money wise. I think for them, they have to go up this year, otherwise they're going to be banging trouble. They've done all these.
Burnley or
Sheffield
they've done
a lot of cost.
Half the clubs in the EFL.
Well, at Sheffield United, they had a list of all these cost-cutting measures that they've done at the club, like things to do with what the players can have and certain things at the training ground and the ground staff and all these different measures to try and save money. So to be doing all that, they've got to be in a bit of a mess.
But this is what you've touched on before, about the parachute payments and the golden egg of getting in the Premier League is that people go all out for it, take massive risks, and then this is what you're seeing. But Burnley, we see people saying if they went down last year, they could go. But Nigel, I know you championed them to win it. You had your tip to and they're going to go up, aren't they? But what a leveler against Man City, 6-0. Yeah. I mean, it just shows you the gap, doesn't it?
Do you know what? They've said, I think it might have been on TalkSport, I was listening, and they were saying about how the Brighton managers came in and he's taken them to another level. And they were saying, you know, it's almost not humiliating, but it's Burnley at the top of the league, but they got spanked by City. But the thing with City is they don't take the foot off the accelerator. They want to get as many goals as they can. And they said the same with Brighton against Grimsby. That, you know, would have been easy for them to take it easy at 3-0. But he's drilled it into the team that, you know, it's a match. It doesn't matter what division you're in. You win the game by as many goals as you can.
Yeah, this is it.
And I think that's, you know, that's the mentality of these sides. I mean, Brighton are having a great season this year.
You know what, as well, you look at a team like Brighton. Don't get me wrong, the day was all about Grimsby, obviously, but Brighton, they're not a massive Premier League team, really. You know, and a day out at Wembley for them is massive. You know, let's be honest. When you get past all the Grimsby stuff, then Brighton fans would have had a great night thinking we're going to Wembley and all that. But it kind of went under the radar because obviously Grimsby were in town, and that's what the story was. But Brighton is huge. You know, going to FA Cup semi-final. You know, chance of getting to a final is, you know, so.
They won their cup final the week before against us.
We've got to keep talking about Premiership. Jesus.
That was technically FA Cup, Gary, that one, mate.
Right, we'll get on the Little League in a minute. But no, some other news as well. Bury, as we all know, Bury went out of business 2019 and they had AFC. Yeah, the AFC Bury come back, and there's been a big divide by the two fans. So they had a vote last October, I think it was, between the two different societies, AFC Bury and Bury, and they needed 66% to get the vote for them to amalgamate, but it didn't get there. So they've now asked for another vote, which you just think, well, you're going to keep voting to get what you want. But I've been reading through their pages, and now they've come up with a statement saying, look, if we don't get this teams to come together, we could go. There could be no team in Bury. So Bury have got the ground, they've got Gig Lane, but they've got no team. AFC Bury are in a league, and they've got the infrastructure. So there's there's loads of politics going on.
AFC Bury are the ones that are in the FA Vars, weren't they? They got knocked out last round
by Newport Pagnell.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people saying, well, no, we're not being dictated to, but they're saying it's come to the crunch because the government money they give for that levelling up fund to support the club depends on a team playing at Gig Lane,
so
I believe.
Bury are obviously playing elsewhere at the moment.
If they come together, they'll get...
Right.
Yeah. So if they come together, they'll get 1.3 million from this up, wherever it's called. So, but I think May the 7th to vote, but I think the vote will go through, and then they've got to form a different board.
Well, this is the thing, because if you've got different owners, if the AFC Bury have got, it might be fan owned or whatever, are they going to be able to agree? If the two merge, I don't know how it's going to work. You know what I mean?
I think they've got 4 on each board, but there's so much technical stuff reading through it all. But both the different groups have agreed this is what we've got to do. But it's the fans who are. But I do believe it will go through, and you've got to see where it goes. And then they've got to form a new.
It's absolutely
board.
Crazy that the way they've allowed this to split themselves. They've been through enough losing their club. They need to bang their heads together. I have also read on that subject that certain board members that disagree with the amalgamation have been told to have it on your toes.
Oh, right.
They have. Yeah, they've been told.
Yeah, that's
you're off. If you don't like it,
they've been given that option to leave.
Yeah.
I think there's a realization that they can't carry on like this, and there must be thousands of their fans that look at this and think, "Gee, we're doing it ourselves now." You're not going to get the support from people like us if you're going to to yourself, are
you? Yeah. You get some fans though who are just who follow, go down a certain route and stick by it and just will not change. You look at FC United. Obviously they created a team. They're in what are they in now? Northern Prem or something like that. National League North.
Yeah.
And they've got so many fans who, when the Glazers coming to United, they was just like, nope, we're not having it. We're forming our own club. We're going, and they watch them religiously, and they won't ever turn back. And I know it's slightly different with Bury, but obviously this AFC Bury, when they was in the Vars, taking big numbers of fans everywhere. And I'm guessing they get decent crowds in their league as well. But it's kind of, if there is another Bury, how far will that club go? They're only going to get so far, aren't they? And they're going to hit a wall, and
they won't survive. Either club won't. You can't have two teams in Bury.
That's a fact. That's right. Okay,
it won't.
Right.
No, they haven't got enough fans to have two teams. I mean, Bury are not a big club, but they've got that. Again, another one of these, as I call it, the Heart Community Club. And they need to get their heart back and stop arguing, bang their heads together, and get that club back where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But they should never.
No. Never, ever.
100%.
No, never, ever. Absolutely.
Right, AFC Bury are a league below Kidsgrove, so they're in Tier 9.
See, and I think I've said this before, Dan, as well. The problem with this, they should never have been allowed. With the amount of money that's in the top end of football, they probably needed, a player's week's wages in some cases to survive. It's as ridiculous as that. And I know I bang on about this. But the other problem is when a club goes out of business or is put out of business the way they were, they still, you look at Macclesfield they're getting 3,500 fans. These guys will start. But the only fear I have for when these clubs get in this put into this position, they get dropped so far down the league structure that they will miss a generation of fans.
100%.
It'll take them 10 years to get even into the National League.
Yeah.
So
and you see how strong them leagues are now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Chester, for example.
Yeah.
How long ago did Chester go bust and start again? They're only in the National League North. Darlington as well. They're in the National League North.
Maybe there needs to be something, I don't know, in place because, like I say, all right, Macclesfield seem to be going strong, but even them, they're doing really well. But how many more years have they got before they even get near the National League? Right, they'll probably get there quicker than we think. But it's still going to be long enough that there'll be a generation of supporter that will go then and support Stockport. So, I mean, I'd say Stockport because I know it's near there. But someone who is in the league.
Yeah.
You know.
I get what you're saying. 100% get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right, let's lighten things up a bit. Let's have a bit of funny old game. We've got a couple of clips today. Right, here's the first one. Do you think this is a red card or not?
That's mad.
Red card, you
That's
A challenge, right?
And for life, mate.
He made the most of it. That's 3 months behind the door, I think.
That's really the police need to be getting involved in that one, I think.
This one is a clip I shared on the pages the other week, but it's I'm struggling to find some funny clips. But this is an old. See if you know the ground, Nigel, and the team. See if you and the player. I think it might have just been a bit after you, maybe when you was retiring. But you've got to look at the fan in the away end, the fan in the white top. Look out for the fan in the white top, and there's proper limbs in this as well. Couldn't see him. Could you see him?
Was that Bradford City?
No, I'll play it again because you can't see it properly now. Screen. Everyone else will be able to see it. There's a fan who just dives out the crowd.
Can't see it, mate.
No, we can't see it on our screens. But everyone else, he obviously gets up and jumps off. But no, any idea of that ground?
See it, yeah. What ground is it?
Manor Ground, Oxford.
Oh, what?
Leeds against Oxford.
I remember that ground, man. That mate, that ground, a little sloped bit of at the end. You had that little slope bit of terracing at one end of the ground.
That's it. You had a little walkway behind it. I've been there a couple of times. It's not a little ground, but yeah, that was the year that Leeds won the league. So I think that was 1991, 1990. Chris Fairclough there with the header. But anyway, that's a funny old game. So now I think we're gonna. Have you got a story for us?
Mate, I've been far too busy.
Yeah, I thought that might happen, mate. So yeah, no problem. So I think we're going to come on to something Gary wants to talk, and I think we're all going to have a chat about is the England international this week, isn't it? Coming up, England away to Italy on Thursday. I think we've sold out. I mean, already. So there's going to be 4,000 or 5,000 out there in Naples. But Gary, you want to talk about England? Players to pick from.
And I know I think you looked into it and got some stats. So what I've been hearing this week and looking at and gauging, which I know I'm a grumpy old sod, everybody, and I know I moan about modern day football, and I'm going to do it again. But hey ho, I wouldn't be Gary otherwise, would I?
No, you don't.
No. So what this really backs up something I was raising a few weeks ago. And so what you're getting now, the feedback we're getting is in certain positions in the England squad, they're struggling to pick the players who are specialised in that position because they're struggling because of the amount of or lack of players to pick from. It's been said, I think it was Southgate that said this, that, you know, we're struggling in some positions now because of the small amount of players that we can pick from. Where does this leave England in 10 years from here? You know, it's like, and this all comes down to obviously the fact that the Premier League, in my view, is no longer a English league. It's the lack of English players playing top flight football, you know, and we're already now seeing they're struggling to take that pick of players in 10 years from now if it carries on the way it is.
I'll give you some stats, Gal, should I? So it's 32% English players in the Premier League. That's the pool Southgate's got to pick from. So just a couple of weeks back, he said it was just 28%.
How many of them are on the bench?
It was 35% when he's. I don't know. I think that's probably the squad. I don't know, maybe on the bench. But it was 35% when he first started, Southgate, and it was 38% previous let. So it's dropping down. So in the January transfer window, all the signings, 8% of them 80% were foreign players who come in. So it's a massive. The pool is getting smaller, and he said he's going to go down in the Championship and look at players now.
This is what worries me, and this is what worries me about our game and our grassroots football. The English players, British players, even now are getting less and less opportunity to play top flight football and be able to get picked up because these clubs just want to pick up players from other countries. The Premier League has become an international league. Let's not, we can all make this all fine and rosy, but the Premier League is now an international league and an English league. Yeah. The owners, very few English owners, very few English players. The money coming in is not from us, it's from foreign countries. This is why the money's gone mad. Yes, there's probably tax benefits to us as taxpayers where we're getting a degree of tax out of all this money. So yeah, there is a benefit from that, but there isn't a benefit for football, not English football. It can't be. The Premier League is not an English league anymore. It really isn't, and they say, we're international.
Is it? The managers are foreign as well.
Oh yes, it's everything. And then about the Championship, Greg, how many English players play for Watford week in, week out?
Well, exactly. Well, we've got, if you go British, we've got one Scottish, one Northern Irish, and then you're scraping, aren't you? Keenan Davis is English, but he's on loan. Chowdhury's English, but he's on loan.
Do you know?
Not many, mate.
So many. Where are we going to bring through? We're talking Championship.
It's like everything, isn't it? It's like everything. If you've got it at the top of anything, it filters down, doesn't it? Everything filters down in life. It doesn't matter if it's, we was talking about obviously the trouble earlier with Mitrovic. It filters down through age groups. It's the same with the Premier League and the finances and the ownership and all that sort of stuff. It just filters down.
Nigel hit another now and there, saying that the managers, and that's why I believe we're stuck with a shit manager in excuse my French, in Southgate, because there ain't a pool of English managers. The best ones won't come to England anyway. There'll be, who is the best English manager? Eddie Howe at the moment? Graham Potter? Is he?
The thing is as well, it's like, I don't know. You look at Spain, you look at La Liga, you look at Serie A, you look at Bundesliga, they are predominantly players from their country. Bundesliga especially, they do things right with the way that they, they do have some players that come from overseas, but, they control it all very well out there. Same with La Liga as well. Certain rules in place and things like that. But it's all kind of lost touch very quickly in England and the Premier League. And when Gal calls it an international league, he's spot on because it is. Whether it's owners, players, staff, it is.
Look at this, Greg. I found this earlier. Champions League minutes by nation. So English players have played 12,718 minutes in this season's Champions League. French players have played the most, 17,000. So we're sixth down that list. So you need to be playing at the top level, don't you, really, to get a good to play against top level players. So I mean, Italy, me and Garrick, Italy are right down there, aren't they? I mean, and they did struggle.
Italy couldn't even,
last season. They got 3 teams in the Champions League, haven't they?
They're not Italy like we know them, but that is a shock hit. The Italy one surprised me because they have a number of teams in that Champions League, don't they? It's surprising. Yeah. And I bet this includes players on the bench, Dan. So where are we getting these stats of, I've got 35%? Yeah. If you actually look at most of these top teams now, they have got a group of English players in each of them. I bet most of them English players are sat on the bench. Not probably getting a weekly game in,
Boring stat for you. The last ever all English FA Cup team. So not the winners. I think the last all-English FA Cup winning team was West Ham in 19... When did they win it? 70 something or 80? Okay. So the last ever team to have an all-English lineup was Crystal Palace in 1990 against Man United. We had 11 English players in that.
Talking of Premier League and obviously like this, the lack of English players and things like that. One thing I've got to say is, against all the negativity, I think Pep Guardiola deserves a bit of a shout out, really, because for as much money as Man City have and all the players they bring from overseas, one thing Pep's always done is he has always given the English boys in the academy a chance, right? So you go back and you look at Foden, right, for example. Remember when he was breaking through and he weren't getting full games, everyone was screaming for him to play. Now he's brought him in, he's gelled him into the team. But you look at this season, despite all their English talents, they've got Cole Palmer, the striker, who's been coming off the bench and he's learning his trade at Man City. He's not been loaned out. You know, then they've got that Rico Williams? Rico Lewis, the fullback. You know, he's been playing as well. He's English. So they've got two young English boys in and around their squad. You get a lot of clubs where they'll just loan out the English kids and you won't even see them. Whereas, you know, credit to Pep in that respect. He does try and get, not a balance, but at least offers something, you know.
You look at somebody, like Ben Cliff's mentioned it, there's some of these players in his squad. I think Mount's pulled out now, is he? But you've got Mount, Gallagher and Calvin Phillips. All players out of form, and aren't they? Is he really struggling to pick players? Is that why he's picking players out of form?
You know what? I think I take his point on what some says, and I'll take Gary's point on what he said as well. But with Southgate, for me, I think it's just another excuse. You know, I think, you know, let's be honest. He said a year ago he was going to pick players on form. He's proved that he doesn't pick players on form. Yeah. You know, I've got to be honest. When I looked at the squad, there was a lot of areas where I couldn't see who else he'd pick. But defensively, right, you're going defensively and you're looking at what's his name? Maguire, and I think there's someone else in there. Now, Ben White at Arsenal top of the league, he ain't put a foot wrong, not in the squad. Dan Burn at Newcastle flying high. You know, Dan Burn's been apparently one of their best players this season, not in the squad. Lewis Dunk at Brighton, captain Brighton, scores goals, defends brilliantly. You know, he's come on a bundle, not in the squad.
He's picked Mark Guy, the Palace player, which is fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? How can you have
the Arsenal fella, though, he fell out with Steve Allen.
You're going down in
defenders that are clear as day in form for their clubs and not even getting a look in. There's certain players I just think that don't fit the England or Southgate's mould. Do you know what I mean?
Greg, I'll tell you what he did. I listened to an interview last week he done, right? And in that interview, he's admitted that when he first took the England job on, he said he would play players on form. He's now admitted that he don't no longer do that. He's actually admitted it. And he said, I've been talking to other international managers and they all say, no, you've got to pick your best players. So he's just falling into line.
He's just falling into line. Yeah.
He's falling into line, the useless twat.
But we all know what's going to happen, right? Whether it happens, all that'll happen, we'll qualify like we always do. Fans will get ahead of themselves. We'll get to another tournament and we'll bottle it. And it'll be down to one man. You know, that's it.
He's picked Ivan Toney, but will he start against Italy? Of course he won't. I like Toney. Do you like Toney?
Yeah, Toney, nice. I guarantee you probably won't even get a sniff.
He's admitted, Southgate openly admitted in this interview that his aim is to pick England's best players, whether they're on form or not.
I've got to be honest, I'm really surprised he picked Toney. With all that stuff hanging over him, I thought it'd have been easy for Southgate to kind of go, no, sorry. But I don't know. You know, at the end, I'm glad he has picked him. But like you say, will he play? Probably 20 minutes against Ukraine in the second game, maybe. But, you know, it's...
Yeah. So are these qualifiers for the Euros, are they? Or the Champions?
Germany, innit?
Yeah. I'm not even...
Germany.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, I don't know. I've not even looked into it.
Also, one thing I would say about it is what a ridiculous time to have an international break. 10 games before the end of the season. You know, clubs are just sort of it's the final leg of that season. You know, and then bang, break for an international break. Ridiculous.
Yeah, Greg Stokey, Ian. Hello, mate. He said, "What about Chris Smalling and Tammy Abraham at Roma?
What about Tomori
the other fella at
AC Milan as well?
At Milan, AC Milan."
But this again shows how inept he is because you've got he's falling in line with these international managers about you've got to pick your best players, but also these international managers will come to England and pick their best players because they're in the best league. Well, yeah, fair enough, but we got good English players playing out abroad. He won't even fucking look at. He won't even give them a look, will he? No,
except for Bellingham. You know what I mean? Bellingham's the only one, isn't
he? Donkey, he winds me up. The donkey.
Oh, mate. Honestly, do you know what I said about 20 minutes ago? That I've never looked forward to an international break more. That's got nothing to do with watching England, by the way. That's just a break from watching my shower of shit football team. That's all that is.
But there is a lot of concern with England fans heading out. If any of you are heading out,
Did you see the trouble in Naples?
Yeah, it's a really naughty place to go.
Yeah.
And you do have to watch yourselves. You know, it's a very naughty place to go. And that trouble there, Frankfurt.
Newspaper in each back pocket.
On all that footage everyone's seen, you know, that's the Frankfurt fans attacking the police. Well, actually, what you don't see is behind that police line where they were blocking off. That was where they were keeping all the Napoli fans back. And someone I know who was out there said the Napoli fans came past him, you know, big, massive mob of them with bats, with crash helmets on and everything. And
what I heard,
they was more prepared than the police.
I don't know how true this is. It could just be nonsense. But obviously, all the Frankfurt fans were on the buses, weren't they? And I heard that basically the police drove them into a situation or an area where they shouldn't have been in, basically. And obviously, all the Frankfurt fans have kicked off, and that's when they've obviously kicked off and got off the bus. It's all gone off from there. How true that is, I don't know. But it's kind of like they kind of bought the trouble on themselves. They shouldn't have even
been there anyway, should they?
No, well, this is it. They couldn't get in the ground, could they? They were banned, weren't they?
No, well, no, because they weren't. They were banned. They weren't allowed any Frankfurt fans. Yeah. They 600 of them turned up more banded. But
there'll be trouble out there when England go out there. There'll be trouble, definitely.
Yeah, it's a bad place to pick for England to be playing in. You know, whoever picked Napoli needs to wobble their head a bit, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Most England fans who go out of these games now, they're not the old England fans. No. You know, they'll get hurt in places like that. You know.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I've got a mate or two who are going out there for it, and like you say, it's a very strange place to with the reputation that Naples and fans in that area have got. It makes zero sense really. Why you put the game there?
No, but that's my take on the England thing.
So, any other business, guys? Any other things you want to chat about? We've got about 5 minutes left before we've got to wrap up. Premier League out. Who do you think going to win it?
So no, I'd rather say.
Hey, listen, I just want to say that going back about 8 to 10 games, I called exactly how Watford would end up this season. 10 games ago, I called that. I mean, I honestly don't know what's going on down at that club. I know it's one of my ex clubs, but you could see it 10 games ago. You see it in 10th,
Nigel. 5.
You've got all these
5 points off
fans are still thinking about getting the playoffs. Got no chance.
5 points off, and you play the game.
I think it's done now. I think at the end of the day, we've got to go to Luton, hopefully beat them, and hope that it. Well,
what season they've had again?
They've got more chance of playoffs than Watford.
I'm going quiet now, Dan. I ain't gonna.
Yeah.
So, but Watford going to be in shit street if you don't go up?
Well, this is the rumour. This is the rumour because apparently Watford have taken out a few loans, and obviously we've got the highest wage bill in the league. But what will happen is we'll get ripped to shit with players leaving. But you know what? It's probably going to be a good thing because I'll tell you, I'll keep it as brief Watford as possible. But Luton, right, kills me to say it, but credit where it's due. You know, they've got a proper team, a team full of battlers who actually know how the championship work, right? And they've got no big star names in their team, but they're a typical championship team. They get in your face, they work hard. You know, it's that sort of league. Whereas we've got so many of these European, South American players who, you know, our squad currently would be better suited in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Because of the way we try and play football. We've got no leaders. We've got no one who battles, no one who gets stuck in by maybe 2 players, one of which signed for us from Scotland a couple of months ago. So it's painful. It's because it's like you say, Dan. Hopefully Palace don't go down. But I tell you what, if Palace do go down, what you need in this league is players that just are going to battle and fight, and you don't need all these tricky stars. You need proper footballers in the Championship. And
I think we're going to see something happen there next season, and I think it won't be good. I think financially we'll see that there's problems there. That's my view. We'll go down and we'll get rid of all the plastic supporters, all the plastic owners, and get a real club back. Yeah. Premier League.
We've got a comment from Andrew Brown. He says, "Don't worry about England. I'm off to the mean streets of Chippenham tomorrow night."
You haven't been on for a little while, mate. I've seen you pick up. I think you got a win on Saturday, but are you still looking deemed for? I haven't looked at the table. They're really looking in a bad way there in the National League South, Weymouth, and I've got a little soft spot for them. A great little club. Just mentioning like national.
Big game against Chippenham.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, what's his name? Steve, isn't it? The Chippenham man. I have to get him on again. What I was going to say, that's an interesting battle going on in the National League there with Hollywood Wrexham and Notts County. Notts County slipping up a little bit at the weekend with a 1-1 draw, and Wrexham
beat Bromley round the corner from me. Bromley fans were up in arms because they had to give up their own men for them.
Bloody Hollywood Wrexham, honestly.
Bang out of order. The Bromley fans doing their nut because they've had to. They sold loads of season tickets this season because they won the FA Vase or the trophy. Brilliant deal, 90 quid this season. So loads of people bought a couple of season tickets. But so everyone's been going to the big games. So they've ripped all the season ticket holders. So you come in for this game, can you let us know if you're not, because we can resell the tickets, which I'll get. But now they've moved them, the Wrexham away end, that's a side bit at Bromley. They've moved them behind the goal, the main Bromley area, because they got turnstiles, so they had to do it. And Bromley fans are up in arms. They're the biggest crowd of the season.
Is it?
But,
it's not right.
No, but that's
it's making money in it, I guess.
On the football side of it, though, that's an interesting see how that pans out. Wrexham obviously looking favourites there.
Paul Mullins still banging them in. I just want to touch on League One and all, the top of that table.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday.
You've seen the game tomorrow, Dan?
Been caught up.
Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow. I think that's on Sky as well. So, Yorkshire Derby, and obviously what we got. Well, they're both bang up there, aren't they?
Oh, they are, yeah.
That Derby, Nige.
They lost Saturday, didn't they?
Yeah, that's a crap result Saturday.
Fleetwood at home.
Yeah,
still in the playoffs, haven't you?
I think it's why the team puts a little run together now between now and the end of the season, really.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday will smash Derby, Ben Cliff says.
Burnley
Michael Carrick.
Burnley, Borough to go up. Also Carrick for future England manager. Do you know what, Borough, mate? I think they've done well, and I think Sheffield United had, made a bit of a gap, but that gap is closing rapidly.
It is. And do you know what? I said about 2 months ago that I think Borough would be bang up there, and I still stand by it. I think they're going to catch Sheffield United.
To be fair, Greg, you said a while back that you felt Sheffield United will flap at the end. You did say that.
Yeah.
You didn't have the faith in them holding up. I think Burnley all day long were going to do it.
Well, I think Burnley, if they win their next 3, they're up, aren't they? But they probably won't even need to do that if teams below them drop points.
But you're right, Dan. League One, if you look at that League One, the top 6 are all big clubs,
Yeah.
All big clubs, all been in the Premier League.
Very big clubs.
Oh, it's mad. League One's up.
I still fancy West Brom to make a late run with Carlos. I can't remember his surname. Yeah, well, others were manager, but they had a good run. Then they dropped a couple of points, but I reckon they could sneak the playoffs and maybe sneak up that way.
I'll tell you what, there's some teams that are right on the fringes, because if you look over at the Championship, obviously you look at the likes of Millwall, Blackburn. They'll probably be your 2 favourites to slip out. Obviously Millwall have got a bit of a history of being in and around the playoffs and sort of dropping out near the end. Blackburn, I don't know if they got the squad for it. I'm not sure. But, you look at the chasing pack, you got West Brom, you got Coventry, Norwich as well. Norwich, yeah.
Norwich, no.
Obviously I'm not going to say Watford but yeah.
But you say Watford, but then you've got these teams above you who are probably going to...
Yeah. But, Norwich is an interesting one.
I'm just looking for a little violin. Hang on. That's a paintbrush. No good. Right, I think we've hit full time now. Does anyone else?
It's interesting. We've done this on the Monday night being away, but the it's been interesting. We seem to have quite a constant flow.
Yeah,
people.
definitely.
It seems to go really well, actually. Yeah.
No football tonight.
I'm just having a look. So
thanks
the
for
England
joining
game
us, everyone.
the England game's Thursday night, and then Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't even know when it was. I just thought I'd get that in.
Well, what time Sunday that on then?
5:00 Sunday, and then 7:45 Thursday night.
So we might want to rethink what we're doing Sunday then.
Yeah, we can always do it this time next week if you want.
Do you want to try and get
Monday?
People make some comments quickly. You've got about 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes to do it. Not even that. What do you reckon? We do it on Monday again? We seem to have had a great response.
I think we should mix it up, to be fair. I think Mondays works quite well, and I think that if there's, say, like a Monday night football or something, we'll flick back to Sunday. You know what I mean?
Well, should we go for next Monday? Is it when you say you got internationals next Monday? What we?
I don't know about next Monday, but England is Sunday 5 o'clock.
Ireland, France.
So
that's Sunday.
Yeah, there's a lot of games on
Sunday,
quarter to 8 next week. Yeah, we'll have a chat. Maybe
Sunday, if the England game's on, we better definitely. Oh, look, they're all saying, Monday. They like it. They like it.
Any offers on the Tuesday? All right, well, we'll let everyone know anyway. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Mike Gale, good show. Cheers, mate. Andy Brown says Monday works well. All right, well, great show, lads. Be nice to be back.
Yeah, you've been missing for a while.
All the best to you, Nigel.
See you in about 8 weeks in.
Yeah. Yeah. Merry Christmas and all that, and I'll see you in the new year. Right, you'll have to waffle on a bit because I've got to find the closing credits wherever they are.
Hello, Mike. Get you back on the show again soon, mate. Right.
There we go.
Good night, all.
Good night, chaps. Have a good week. See ya.
The Proper Football Live Show. Sundays at 6 p.m. for your football fix on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and PF Radio. Check out our website at properfootball.com.